Newport-Fersan in the Field. Real Issues, Real Solutions is brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
It is now time for First and in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. Joining us this morning, Sajae Jones, agronomist out of Zone 3. Good morning, Sajae, and how are you?
Good morning, Alta. Good morning, listeners. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I am great. Good to have you on with us. How has this Farmers Month been going? What kind of work have you all been doing on the ground as you celebrate the farmers?
Well, Farmers Month has been going very good. We have been offering discounts. We've been doing our usual field visits and interactions, ensuring that everything is as it should be.
Okay, very good. And of course, with just 2 days left today and tomorrow, want to encourage the farmers to make use of every opportunity that exists out there to cash in on some of those discounts that you just spoke about. All right, so this morning, Sajae, we're focusing on mixing and application in fertilizers and pesticides. And I want to start with a very simple question. Of what value is today's topic for our farmers? What does it hold? What value does it hold for our farmers? Why this focus?
Well, this topic is one that's often overlooked. When proper mixing and application of agricultural inputs is essential for our farmers, as it maximizes the crop effectiveness. It reduces cost, it protects both the equipment and environment. When it is done correctly, it ensures that products and pesticides, fertilizers work effectively, minimizing waste and avoiding the need for costly reapplication.
As if it is not done properly, then really it is like sending money down the drain.
It is. It's literally you walking and throwing your money away if it is not done properly.
And of course, farmers are in the business to make money, so they have to be mindful of these kinds of issues. All right, so having gotten that out of the way, what are some of the issues associated now with mixing and application of fertilizers and pesticides?
Well, as we look at this topic, I think that we should just break it into the two main headings that's there. The mixing and application of pesticides and the mixing and application of fertilizer, being soluble fertilizer. So we'll take the mixing and application of pesticides, being a cocktail mix that is of your pesticides, whether it be insecticides, your fungicides, and of course, a lot of the times the cocktail will include some foliar supplements in it. So let's understand the mixing aspect of it, and we'll take just 3 points into consideration for this topic. Incorrect water pH, mixing incompatibility, and incorrect dose rate or concentration, right? So when we speak of incorrect water pH, one of the things that jumps out to us is alkaline hydrolysis, which is the chemical reaction where certain pesticides or agricultural chemicals break down or degrade in alkaline water. When we say alkaline water, we're speaking of water that is above 7. So what happens is that many pesticides are unstable in alkaline conditions. When mixed in a high pH water, the chemical bonds, they can break. The active ingredients can break when they come in contact with the water molecules, making it less effective or completely inactive before it even hits the field. So you can mix it, and before you even go to spray it, it becomes inactive. If you don't adjust your spray mix, then you're essentially, again, wasting your money. It can also lead to poor pest control, poor weed control, and requiring reapplication, which increases the risk of resistance to that chemical that you're using. The next topic would... Yes?
No, continue.
Mixing incompatibility will be the next topic that we'll be looking at. What this is, it occurs when agricultural products like pesticides, herbicides, resistant and react poorly, leading to clumping or separation, gelling, or even a reduced effectiveness. These problems can clog your equipment, and it can damage your crop, and it can make your spray totally unusable. You see how important these are. It can damage your equipment,
Yes.
and it can make the spray inactive or ineffective.
Now, of course, one of the things that I know that you're recommending is that farmers are mindful of how they use their spray pans, for example. So should they be mixing the pesticides in the same spray pan as the one that they use for the nutrients?
No, definitely not. So you should have separate spray equipment for your herbicide and for your pesticide. That is a definite recommendation that we always give out to farmers, that you should have separate containers, separate equipment to use for both of them.
Because
Yeah.
particularly for those who are just coming in, we want to make it clear why they shouldn't do that, why they should ensure that they're having the two separate pans.
So the two separate pans is to eliminate, not reduce, but eliminate the risk of cross-contamination of your different pesticides. As you can have a herbicide which is geared towards killing herbs or plants, and you use that for your land clearing. Then you go now and you establish a crop, and you will have residue from the herbicide in the pan still, and you mix your pesticide in it and go to treat the farm, and you're actually going to kill your farm or to stunt the growth of your plants. So
Right. So, and I would recommend, and this is just me, a color-coded system where let's say that you have the top of the one that you use for the pesticides is red, the top of the one that you use for the nutrients is green. And I'm certain that the organizations that do sell these kinds of products, that they come in a range of colors. All right, let us move on then to the whole issue of the solutions, because that is important, Sajae. You come to the table with the issues, but how it is that we approach the mixing now, that is important. So talk to us a little bit about that. Walk us through that process. What is the best way to deal with some of the challenges that the farmers face in terms of the mixing and application?
Definitely we'll go into the correction of the problems, but I would like to just finish out the issues, and then we just move into it so we can have
sure,
so they can understand.
Go right ahead, because that is important.
We were at 3, so let's just take the other one, which would be the incorrect dose or concentration. Now, using
I think I only had 2, so that was the problem.
Yes.
But go ahead.
So the incorrect dose or concentration of agricultural input now. Whenever you have a high dose or concentration, you can have chemical burns or damage to the crop, leading to reduced yield or even the death of that plant. You can have environmental harm, as excessive chemicals can leach into the soil or water, harming beneficial organisms and polluting your ecosystem. You also come now with increased cost, as you will be buying double the chemical or 1.5 times the chemical to apply on the same area. If you flip it and go to a low concentration, you can have ineffective control, building resistance to that chemical, and you will have wasted effort, as you will go out and spray and not get that control that you desire and have to reapply. Now, when it comes over now to the application side of it, you have 4 points that we want to look at: the sprayer calibration, application equipment issues, environmental and timing factors, right? Now, when it comes down to sprayer calibration, this is another topic that most farmers, they don't pay keen attention to, and it costs them in more ways than one. So sprayer calibration, simply put, is the process of adjusting your spraying equipment to ensure that you're applying the correct amount of product for a given area. So that's you have 1 square land, you know that you only need 1 gallon to spray the 1 square land, right? And that is, in essence, sprayer calibration. You don't have too much and you don't have too little. So you don't have too much where you have disposal problem, then you don't have too little where you have to go and mix again to incur other problems.
How big a problem is that out there, Sajae, that the farmers are not finding, some of them, that balance that is necessary?
It's too big a problem. And where this problem comes from, where the main point that this problem would be is the disposal of excess rain. Right? So a lot of farmers, they won't be making a charcoal pit, they won't be making arrangements with the correct authorities to dispose of the excess mix. So what they'll be doing is just dumping it in the field, and as we said, killing those beneficial microorganisms and harming the soil. It will be running down into the groundwater, contaminating it. So the farmer won't be properly disposing of the chemical. And if you flip it to the other side, and the farmer has indeed, because we're all humans, so we have to think of it from a human standpoint. If the farmer went ahead and he adjusted his pH and he mixed the chemical properly as it should be mixed, and he went and he applied, and then he reaches almost to the end of his field, and he sees that he only needs 1 more gallon now to mix, then more often than not, that same farmer will not adjust the pH and will not mix that chemical properly again. And then they will now mix a batch that is not as effective as the first batch and spray that last little portion of the field. When they spray that little portion of the field now, then you will notice that that area now will not have effective control. And from that area, the field can now be reinfected with whatever pest or disease that they are trying to control.
Right. Well, this is very important information that is being shared here this morning, Sajae, because of course, we want the farmers to be able to use the products effectively. And that is part of the challenge. If they're not being used effectively, I would imagine that they don't get the kind of yield that they want. And if they don't get the kind of yield they want, they don't get the kind of money that they want to get into their pockets, right?
Definitely, and then that would damage their bottom line, as they would be spending twice because they won't get the effective control, so they'll have to go and reapply again, and that will affect their yield, as the crop will have to be, for example, stunted, and that will affect the time that it's in the field, the yield that they would get, therefore affecting the bottom line. So they'll be spending more to get less.
Great. All right, we're on the break, so I might as well just take that, almost there. And then when we come back, we will take a look at the solutions, and we'll also introduce into the conversation a couple of farmers. We are inside the feature Fertilizers in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. And this morning our focus is on mixing and application of fertilizers and pesticides. Sajae Jones is with us. And Sajae has highlighted the challenges that farmers face in terms of mixing and application of fertilizers and pesticides. So we're focusing on the issues and, of course, moving to the solutions. Really very important. And Sajae, want to touch on the solutions because, of course, and we're doing that even as we go along, but a little bit more concentrated now. We're asking you to guide us through the solutions, because I would imagine that you use these solutions out there in the field to assist farmers.
Yes, we have been using these solutions to the issues above, aforementioned, with great success with farmers. Namely, the adjusting of the water pH. So we stock citric acid and pH meters, which are widely known to be used to adjust the water pH to get that effective control that you desire. So the pH meters are actually on special for this month, Farmers Month. So we
Very
would
good.
use the pH meters to test the water pH. Then we'll use the citric acid to incrementally lower the pH to the level that it should be at. And of course, we offer training for this. So once you purchase the pH meter, we will come and we will be at your field to step-by-step guide you in using this pH meter properly. So if you are one farmer and you purchase one pH meter, we will come to your field and guide you in using this pH meter properly, because we want each and every one of our farmers to use this to get effective control. But the mixing incompatibility, what you will do is perform a jar test. Now this is a small scale test done using a clear jar and a cap to test the compatibility of products. So essentially what you would do is you would mix them in the same water on a smaller scale and shake them to see the reactions that occur. See if there's clumping or sludging, oil separation, heat, any of those red flags there, to see what is happening with the chemical before you mix it on a large scale and quote-unquote waste your money.
This is very important information that is being shared. I'm going to ask you to hold just a bit. Let us just bring Andre Dyer in. He's already on. I should let you know as well, Sajae, that we're not getting through to Mr. Lewis, but we will go with Andre now and find out what is going on with him. Andre is, of course, no stranger to us here on Farm Talk. Andre, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Not bad. It's not.
Good to have you on with us. What kinds of challenges were you facing in terms of the mixing and application of fertilizers and pesticides?
Yeah, the challenge, well, I used to see it earlier on the farm, is not knowing which fertilizer to combine. So, knowing this new system to give me a clear idea of which fertilizer I should not add, to release to the plant. So knowing this system, it gives me a clear idea of what not to add, and when is the most effective time to use each component.
And having had the intervention from Newport-Fersan, what changes have you seen? You've gone with the prescription. They help you to identify what the challenges were, and they provided the solutions. What difference has that been making on your farm?
Vast amount of difference. Yeah, I use less fertilizer, and the whole production line increased by over 70%. Knowing all this.
Wow. I wonder as well, Andre, if when you go through this kind of assessment, do you share the information with other farmers as well? Do you say, listen, guys, you need to have Newport-Fersan come in and take a look at what is going on?
Sure. As you know that I'm the president of the Best Onion Group.
Yes.
All these informations are shared with the group members. So each farmer now come in online and knowing when to what different component not to add and when to add Hello?
And I would imagine, Andre, that they're seeing a difference in their operations as well.
Sure. The output has been tremendous.
Good. Let me just bring Sajae back in. Sajae, but this is very important, because not only then are you on the ground taking a look at what is going on, but you're treating with each farmer, depending on the challenge that he or she might have.
Definitely, and that's one of the key things that we strive for at Newport-Fersan, the individual look. Because it's one thing to prescribe or to teach something to a farmer and tell them that, yes, this is the right way, but each farmer has a different system in place. Each of them gets water from a different source. Each of them have different infrastructure for the release of their fertilizer, whether it be a tank mix and then pump it using a water pump, or it's a Venturi system. All of that has to be taken into consideration, the amount of water that they have at their disposal, to know the frequency, even their soil type that they have, to know the frequency of application that you should be doing. all of this has to be taken into consideration when it comes over to the mixing and application of fertilizer aspect.
All right, excellent. Mr. Dyer, anything else that you care to share before you leave us?
No, my final word to farm is that if you know how to use soluble fertilizer effectively, it can reduce your fertilizer usage by over 60%.
Mm-hmm.
And the returns are great. It's better than to me over my years of experience.
All right. Thank you so very much. And I know that there'll be other occasions on which we'll chat. But thanks. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Andre Dyer there. And we're going back now to Sajae to pick up on the solutions, because all of this is really critical. It's one thing to have the problem, but of course, Sajae, the solutions are critical.
Definitely, because having a problem and having no solution is a big headache. It's being stuck between a rock and a hard place and a very hard
That's place. That's right. All right, Sajae. So you can continue.
Yes,
and we're going to continue to try to see if we can get Mr. Lewis.
Yes. So we had looked at some of the issues and solutions in regard to spray mix. So we are just going to backtrack a bit and look at some of the issues and some of the solutions for the fertilizer aspect of it, soluble fertilizer aspect of it. Because this is another problem that we are having and farmers are having in applying their fertilizers, because it's one thing to, for example, know that this blend is the correct blend to use on your farm. But going out there and mixing this blend, applying it to the farm, you're not getting results that you can see. And this is because of really two main issues when it comes on to mixing, and also two main issues when it comes on to application. The mixing issues are nutrient incompatibility and incorrect concentration. So for the nutrient incompatibility, it's when your fertilizers react negatively with one another when mixed, leading to precipitation, reduced nutrient availability, clogging your fertigation system. For the incorrect concentration, when using the incorrect concentration in soluble fertilizers, it can seriously affect the plant health, the nutrient efficiency, and long-term soil balance, soil nutrient balance. Consequences: if it is too strong, you can cause phytotoxic burns to your roots, reducing the root hairs and therefore reducing the amount of surface area that you have for nutrient uptake. It can cause nutrient lockout. You can waste the fertilizer and it can raise the soil salinity. For under application, you will have insufficient nutrient going out to your plant, thereby leading to nutrient deficiency, stunted growth, that is. When it comes on to the application aspect, you can have uneven distribution, which would lead to your crop being patches where you have a healthy field here and you have a stunted field there. You will have different fertilizer zones build up where you have over here having a high concentration of fertilizer, while over there having a low concentration when you test the soil. You can have nutrient wastage. When it comes to the storage and stability aspect now, is a lot of farmers tend to do this one, and it leads to a great bit of problem, where they will have a large storage container on their farm that they will say, this is my fertigation tank. I mix my nutrients here and I store it and I run it out over the course of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And what happens here is that they will mix it, they won't have any consideration to the time period, to agitation or anything like that, and they will just store the nutrients there. And what happens is that the nutrients become unstable, the nutrient will degrade, precipitate can form, you can have microbial growth, what you really want happening is that you will mix for the time period that you're in. So whatever time period that you're in, if you need to fertilize for this time period, you'll mix for this time period and release the fertilizer. You don't want to be storing water-soluble fertilizers for a long period, to fertilize for a long period, because this will essentially, like the spray, degrade, and you will get poor use of the fertilizer. You won't get the effective use that you are seeking.
You know, as you're speaking there, what jumps into my mind is your precise nutrient management system. So farmers need to be precise in terms of what they're doing.
Definitely. And as you have touched on that, we will just move into the solution. The precise nutrient management system is the solution for all the problems on the farm. If you think about it on a micro level, wherein we chart out from start to finish for both the fertilizer and pesticide applications how to take care of your crop. For the nutrient incompatibility and incorrect concentration, the PNMS technology carefully and thoughtfully balances your nutrient rates, the right time, the right source, the right place. We always talk about the 4 R's. Now this will give you all of those aspects, taking into consideration the soil structure and nutrient capacity of your soil. This will allow for us to give you the right timing, reduce buildups, the right rate to reduce the phytotoxic burns. The AMS programs, both the precise, the AMS meaning Agricultural Management System, both the precise program and the improved program, which is the next best thing to the precise, both of these can be offered to farmers to properly spray and fertilize the crop. The program even has in it the correct rates for application for your spray mixes. It has the correct rate and time for your fertilizer application. When it comes on to the application aspect of it, what you really want to do now is to ensure that you're properly mixing. And again, the program comes into play here where it tells you the amount of pesticide that you want to be applying. Right? Sorry. You want to be applying.
All right. Since you've cleared your throat, Sajae, let me just take the break, allow you to swallow, and then come back. All right, so we're rounding out our conversation now with Sajae Jones, who's agronomist for Zone 3 with Newport-Fersan, Jamaica. Sajae?
Yes. As we were saying before, the programs are really a one-stop shop. They're the answer to the problems that we face when it comes down to mixing and application of pesticides and your fertilizers. We always strive to put these programs together to fit the specific farmer's needs when it comes on to these topics. And as I said before, the storage and stability of your fertilizers can be combated with just mixing for that specific period that you're in. And I know this morning it's because of the wealth of information that we have to provide for the farmers, but we have just been going between the issues and solutions, and we have no problem with that. We also encourage farmers to reach out to us. And if you miss anything, you can always reach out and we will go back through it with you one-on-one. Because that's the best way that we see that persons actually can react to the information and apply it by us coming out and visiting you.
Excellent. And what are those contact details?
All our contact details are listed on Google. You can reach out to me directly at 553-3832. That's an 876 number. So that's 876-553-3832. And we'll be more than happy to assist you with any concerns that you may have.
And very important for you to say that is an 876 number because we have 2 exchanges now. So
Yes.
we have to make that clear. Thank you so very much, Sajae. This really has been very rich, information rich. And of course, we want to encourage the farmers to make use of every opportunity to engage you and other members of the team to talk about the issues. As a matter of fact, it's good to talk about the issues so that you just immediately know what to do and you don't find yourself in a spot of bother. Thanks much, Sajae.
Thanks for having me.
All right, a pleasure. Sajae Jones there, agronomist for Zone 3 with the Newport-Fersan. This has been another in the series, Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. A quick word, and then we're jumping right back to sharing some information with you.
Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions was brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.